If you can't tell by my color palette, we're doing a Valentine's Day video. Or just like a February nice little reading vlog where I read romance books. My overarching reading goal this year is to read pretty much only books that I have on my physical TBR because I have a lot and I need to read them, and I know that there's some really good ones on my shelves that I just haven't picked up yet. So we're buying less books and reading more from my shelves. And one way I'm going to do that is with videos like these, where when there's a holiday or whatever coming up, we're gonna pull some prompts out of a little bowl and read some, you know, holiday appropriate books from my shelf. And obviously it is almost Valentine's Day. Probably Valentine's Day has happened or has passed by the time you're seeing this video. However, for me, it is before Valentine's Day. So I have a little bowl of like prompts here. I have no idea if these are going to make sense or if I can even pull romance books or Valentine's Day type books from these prompts. We're gonna try. We're gonna see what happens. What I mean by, you know, Valentine's Day books is romance books, obviously. Anything with like a heart on the cover, anything that has an aspect of romance. So it can be romantasy, it can be toxic romance, it can be anything. It can be a contemporary fiction book, but if it has a little bit of aspect of romance, then it is up to be able to pick. Okay? Or if it's just pink. If it's just a pink book, then I think that also works because that's on theme, pink or red. Those are the rules. I'm gonna pick 3 prompts to start off with to see how quickly we can get through those 3 books. And if I have time to read more, then cool. Okay, ready? First prompt is, I have 2 here. Title begins with N. Okay, let's go see what we can find. Okay, the only thing that I have that is remotely close is A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. And if you just like take the A off, then it's Novel Love Story and it starts with an N. I think that works. It is literally, I have no other book that starts with N. I think we're just gonna have to go with this one. And since it's a romance, we're just gonna count it. Okay, first book down. Next prompt says, nope, buy a new book. Not gonna do that. Next prompt says, on TBR for 2+ years. That's a good one for this year. Okay, the only one that I can remotely fit into this prompt is A Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I have read this, but it was years ago in high school. And I really liked it then, and I've been wanting to reread it to kind of see if it holds up. You know, it's been on my shelf for forever. So I think we're gonna have to do this one because it is kind of like a classic love story. It is. Okay, we have 1 more book to pull. And then we're going to get started on reading. I'm gonna go like right in the middle. Inspired by real events. I don't think I'm gonna have that, but I'll go take a look. No, there's just no way that I have that. I don't even have like a nonfiction book like that. Okay, let's try another one. Creepy setting. Nah, we'll just skip that one. Okay, let's see what we have. Title is 4 words. Okay, let's go look. Okay, we have a winner. It is Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. I have heard such good things about Ashley Herring Blake's books. I think this is like a series. It's a series in a sense that they're all, what's it called? Oh, like interconnected standalone books. The other ones are Delilah Green Doesn't Care and Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. Iris goes to a bar in Portland and meets a sexy stranger, and a night of dancing and making out turns into the worst one-night stand Iris has had in her life. Yeah, it's like a fake dating, and they're in a play together. I think that sounds fun. All right, here's our lineup. I'm excited. I think we have some good ones here. I've only heard good things about this author. This one I've heard some mixed reviews about, and I am interested if I'm going to like it because I loved The 7 Years Slip by Ashley Poston. However, what was it called? The Dead Romantics I did not really like. So it's gonna be interesting to see if I like this one or not. And then The Great Gatsby I've just been wanting to reread for a long time now. So let's get into it. Back up, girl. I cannot decide which one I want to go into next. I finished The Husbands. I will update you on that one probably tomorrow when the lighting is a little bit better. But because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to read next, I was gonna look at Goodreads and see like which has a better rating and which one people are liking more. And then that's the one that I'm gonna read. Let's see. Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. It's Bright Falls number 3, but like that doesn't matter, right? They're standalones, aren't they? Okay, this has a 4.12, which isn't awful. And a novel love story, 3.65. So Iris Kelly Doesn't Date is the winner, which is good because I was a little bit leaning more towards this one. So let's go ahead and mark it as currently reading. Boom. Reading, baby. Amazing. So I'm gonna read like probably just like a chapter of this tonight because I'm also watching Sweet Magnolias, which I loved the first season. I loved the first season. It gives you such a nice little like cozy small town romance vibes, and it was so nice. It was so cozy. It gave me the same like feelings that Gilmore Girls or something gives you, you know, but like the summertime version of that. So that's why I really liked the first season. However, I feel like it's gotten a little bit dramatic. So I'm on season 3. I think the 4th season just came out pretty recently, and I haven't seen season 3 yet. So I started the first episode last night and I'm gonna finish it now and then probably read my book and go to bed. All right, see you tomorrow where I'll hopefully update you on The Husbands. Okay, The Husbands update. I liked it. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I had a good time. I thought that it was entertaining. She was good at introducing these plot points that made you want to keep reading and keep coming back for more. That being said, it was a bit slow and a bit redundant because, you know, only so many different kinds of husbands can come out of an attic and it be entertaining, I guess. I felt like I would have had a more enjoyable time if it was like 100 pages shorter. I think because by that time, that's when the redundancy came in, where it was like, okay, all of these twists have happened now and like I've been having a good time and this is nice, but let's just end it. We don't need to keep doing these things over and over and over again. The main character, she talks about wanting to settle down and she's like, okay, I want to stop. I want to pick a husband and stop and be done with it. She says that almost every page for the last 100 pages, it feels like. I feel like the author could have just taken a chunk like out of the middle there and scooted the end toward that part, and it would have been really good. Because I liked the ending. I liked the way it ended. I thought that that was a fun, good way to end the book. I just wished it would have happened earlier, I guess. That was my biggest qualm with it. That's why it's 3.5, because it was a bit slow. I added the 0.5 because 3 stars is like a middle of the road book for me. I enjoyed my time reading it, but you know, it was just okay. Like, I was entertained enough, but I wish it had just like a little bit more feeling to it, you know? So that's where the 3 stars comes. The 0.5 I added on because I did genuinely have a good time, and I thought her writing was good, and I thought that the way she kept making you come back for more was nice. So that's where the 0.5 comes from. Should I start saying my CAWPIE reviews? I don't know who came up with this rating system, but it's the characters, atmosphere, writing style, plot, intrigue, logic, and enjoyment. I don't do logic though. The logic one kind of throws me off. So characters, I gave a 5. They were just middle of the road for me. They weren't like, I connected to her in a sense, but at the same time, I didn't connect to her at all. So 5, just straight down the line. I should probably explain that. You give each of these categories a number, 1 through 5. And once you have those numbers, you add them together, divide them by 6 in my case, 7 if you're using the logic point as well. You add them together, divide them by that number, get the average, and then that average equates to a star. Characters, I did 5. Atmosphere, I did a 5 because it was just kind of basic. It was just the UK. It was London, mostly in her flat, so it wasn't like a super exciting atmosphere. Writing style, I gave a 7. I did like Holly Gramazio's writing style. I thought she did a good job at explaining detail, and she went into detail, but she didn't go too much into detail, and it was just a really nice balance, so I did a 7. Plot, I gave an 8 because I like the plot. I think that that is such a good idea and such a fun idea. I just wish it was done a little bit better. Intrigue was a 7 because it was a bit more than average. Average is 5, right? So it was a bit better than average, and I did want to keep coming back to a certain extent, so I did a 7. And my enjoyment was an 8. I had a nice time reading it. So 8. And then that equaled something, I can put it here, which gives me like around a 3 star, but I added the 0.5 because I feel like it was just a little bit better than middle of the road. Yeah, that's how that works. I do that for every book, which I probably should just go through in my videos too. Probably start doing that. Now, an update. I was reading Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. However, today is Norwegian Mother's Day. And yesterday, my husband took me to the mall and let me buy some books. And one of the books I got is Bunny by Mona Awad. And I've been wanting to read this for a really long time. And it's pink. So I thought it still fit the theme of the video. Even though I don't think it's necessarily about love, it's kind of like a secret society, university, hidden secrets, magic type book. However, it is very much very pink. So this is what we're going into now. I feel like the books are just constantly changing in this video, but that's just how it goes. Okay? I tried a slick back look today. It takes some getting used to, I will say, but I feel much more put together than when I just do like a regular ponytail. So I think that's a bit of a win. I am currently sitting in the parking lot waiting for my husband to get a haircut, so I'm gonna read some more of Bunny. I am liking it so far. I'm on page 40 and it's very engrossing. I don't want to stop reading, which is really nice. And you're very curious about the whole thing and what people are up to and why people are up to certain things, and yeah. I'm excited. I'm liking it. Let's read. First order of business today. I don't know why I always say that. I have 2 plans today, or 3. I will be finishing Bunny, hopefully. Hopefully I will finish Bunny today and do laundry and just kind of clean the house a little bit as I go because I've been sick the past few days with like some awful stomach bug thing and the house is slacking. So we need to get to cleaning and to reading. I don't know if I've really talked about what this book is about. Oh, also I did my nails. How cute. I tried chrome for the first time and I put it on this hand and I was like, whoa, that's chrome for sure. And I wanted it to be like red chrome and more of like a subtle. So I had red under it and then I just didn't expect it to be so crazy. So yeah, but now it's kind of like red bottoms, which is kind of cool. And then there's a little red heart. And then on this hand, I just did all red with a little chrome heart. How cute. We love Valentine's Day. Okay, so Bunny. I am really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it as much as I can because you don't know what the hell is going on while you're reading this. I'm on page 115 now. So I feel like I can give kind of a better description of what's going on and like what this book is about. So we are following Samantha. She is our main character and she is an outsider and she is in this highly selective MFA program at Warren University. There is this clique of girls that call themselves Bunny. So they all call each other Bunny in this little group. I think there's 4 of them. Samantha and her friend Ava have always been sort of critical of this group. However, one day Samantha gets an invitation from the bunnies and they invite them to something called their smut salon. She goes. Samantha goes to it. That's pretty much where we are. Samantha is kind of grappling between her relationship with Ava because Ava is still very critical of the bunnies. But Samantha, for some reason, is kind of obsessed with Ava, I find. So she's trying to like balance the two. Like she wants Ava, but she also wants the bunnies. So I don't know, it's very odd. But I like it. It has these like fantastical horror elements to it. It's giving, okay, it's a mix of these two things. It's giving 90s rom-com. Think Mean Girls. What's the other one with Lindsay Lohan that's not Mean Girls, but she's like she loves that band Siddhartha, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Like that, where the female main character has this sort of inner dialogue that is very critical. Her inner dialogue does a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of dialogue for the book or the movie. It's very much giving 90s teen romance, 90s teen rom-com, but with like these horror magical elements. And it's also giving the substance in a way that you just kind of don't know what's going on. You're like, what is even happening? What does this mean? I don't really understand. It just has kind of those weird, that weird imagery, that kind of gory imagery. I don't know, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. That's where we are right now in Bunny, page 115. I'm hopefully gonna finish this today. We'll see, what time is it? Yeah, it's only 11:30. So I can probably finish most of this today and then hopefully finish the rest of it tonight. We'll see. We have an update on Bunny. Weird little book. I loved it. I ate it up. I gave it 4.5 stars because it was just so good. My CAWPIE, because I don't use the L, CAWPIE, is this. I just ate it up. I read it so fast and it was so nice to have that feeling again where like I want to get back into the world. I want to get into the book and find out what happens next and what like weird thing is going to happen next. And it is much more of a romance than I originally thought it was going to be. There is yearning, there is pining, there is jealousy, there is rage, there is all of those emotions, very, very strong, exaggerated emotions, but like, it was good. It was good. I think that must be one of my favorite genres. Just like weird horror, maybe? Or maybe it's like body horror. It's kind of body horror, right? Like for the people that have read it, obviously, like it's kind of body horror. Just like weird stuff that doesn't make sense because like I was relating it to The Substance, the movie. And like that movie is objectively extremely weird and makes no sense and is like, what, huh? When you get done with it. But I like that. I like that feeling where you're just like, what did I just read? How does that, doesn't even like make sense to human function, right? Like I like that. If you have any recommendations, I would love to hear them because I'm interested, very interested. Now, moving on to our last book of this video, I've already started reading it, and that is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I am on chapter 4, and when I read this, did I talk about it before? I think I said before that I read it back in high school and I want to reread it. So, and I remember why I liked it so much when I read it back in high school. It's just like really nice, flowery writing where you feel engaged in the story because of the way it's written. You don't have like the high intensity plot lines, right? So just the lyricalness of it and the beauty of it really is what makes you want to read it. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I started watching the movie because I love the movie. I have seen that multiple times, much more than I've read the book, obviously. And yeah, so I started watching the movie and I'm gonna finish the book, hopefully tonight or tomorrow. I only have this much left, and I'm listening to the audiobook at the same time. So we're getting through her pretty quickly. Yeah, I'm just enjoying it. There's of course those iconic lines like when Jordan says, and I like large parties. They're so intimate. At small parties, there isn't any privacy. Like that one's iconic. And then the one about she told me it was a girl, and so I turned my head away and wept. All right, I said, I'm glad it's a girl, and I hope she'll be a fool. It's the best thing a girl can be in this world. A beautiful little fool. They're just the most recognizable quotes that I've read so far, I feel like. So basically, in this book, we are following a whole slew of characters. We have the narrator, who is Nick. So the story is told through Nick's perspective. And you get the idea that he's almost like telling the story to someone. He's not like currently living it. It's like he's retelling it. Nick is cousins with Daisy Buchanan. Daisy is married to Tom Buchanan, and they are old money. They live at East Egg. East Egg is, they're in New York City. There's two separate islands, West Egg and East Egg. East Egg is old money. West Egg is new money, basically. So he moves to New York to work on Wall Street. He goes and visits Daisy at her and Tom's house. And there she meets Jordan Baker, who is a famous golfer. And she mentions the parties that someone named Gatsby has. Daisy perks up and is like, Gatsby? Who Gatsby? Or what Gatsby? And then Nick is like, that's my neighbor. Gatsby, of course, is the neighbor to Nick. He is new money, and he throws these huge, lavish parties with lots of drinking, lots of dancing, lots of music, all of those grand things. Yeah, so we're just following them, basically. Daisy and Tom have like a tumultuous marriage, I would say. It's described as that neither of them like each other. And they both, and Tom has a mistress on the side that we meet. I think it's in like chapter 3 or chapter 2 or something. And that's basically it. You're following Nick telling the story of Gatsby and how he came to know Gatsby and hang out with Gatsby and who he is. He's kind of this mysterious figure in the New York scene, I guess, because at his parties people talk about that, oh, he's a murderer, oh, he's blah 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 blah. They have a bunch of different rumors about him, and no one actually knows like who he really is. So we get Nick's perspective on who Gatsby actually is, because he got this like first-hand account of being with him. So far, so good. I'm liking it a lot. I will update you when I'm finished.
Famous CAWPIE.
Oh, damn.
She was the most frightening joy looking at her.
Been lying on that sofa for as long as I can remember.
You want more? Want spoilers for The Great Gatsby, then you can leave now. Thank you for watching this video up until this point. But I'm going to talk candidly about The Great Gatsby. I like this book. What did I end up rating it? 4 stars, I think. Here is my CAWPIE. I liked being in the world and the atmosphere. Also, I just showered, by the way, so that's why my hair is kind of crazy right now. I liked it. I had a good time. I like the world. I like the roaring 20s aesthetic of the whole thing. Even though Daisy is a majorly flawed and like a majorly flawed character, I do like her. The writing is so nice. I really liked the writing, and usually I'm not a fan of writing that's too flowery or overly flowery, or like it's trying to be beautiful when it's really not. But I feel like this is just nice, beautiful writing, which, as I was doing some research about this after I read it, there is a rumor, I guess, that Zelda Fitzgerald, F. Scott Fitzgerald's wife, actually wrote some of the lines in this book. I saw mixed opinions on whether or not he stole the lines from her diary, like read her diary and then stole the lines from it. I also heard that she just helped him write the book, but because it was written in like the 1950s or the 1940s or something like that. 1925 is the first copyright. And then the copyright was renewed in 1953. But because of the time that it was written, Zelda is not credited on any of this, but it is really just kind of word of mouth or rumor that she helped him or was a part of writing some of this. But people credit that beautiful fool line to Zelda because a man can't write a line like that. So I think that's pretty interesting because, like, true, right? Now, my 3 theories, or like, yeah, I'd say they're theories. My 3 theories. Number 1, Nick is in love with Gatsby. All of the signs point to it. He has this sort of fascination, obsession, lust for his life and his character and knowing about him and knowing who he is and being close to him. And I'm pretty sure that Nick is in love with Gatsby. But of course, because it's the 1920s, that's not a thing. For sure, Nick is in love with Gatsby. 2, Gatsby, let's just be clear that none of the characters in this book are good. Nick, arguably, I guess, is kind of like morally good. But he's just kind of morally in between because he entertains these people, he hangs out with these people, he likes these people, so how morally okay can he actually be because of that? Everyone else is morally not good at all. Gatsby being the one that stood out to me the most because he comes off, if you're reading this book very surface level, he comes off as a guy who is in love and did everything he possibly could for love and to make himself worthy of Daisy, but Daisy still didn't end up picking him in the end. So he comes out technically looking like a good guy, but he's not. Gatsby didn't love Daisy. Gatsby was obsessed with his image. Daisy represents a lot of this for him. And they talk about it a lot in the book when Gatsby's always saying, "You were always in my mind when I did this. You were always, I did this for you. I throw these parties for you. If you don't like something, I'll change it. Like, I do all of this for you." So he had this image of Daisy in his head for those 5 years that they didn't know each other. And he became obsessed with it. And that's why, like, the green light comes into play after Daisy is in his house and is with him, because that light holds no significance anymore. There's no chase anymore. That's not something that he's trying to gain, right? Sorry, I had to plug you in because you were about to die. But yeah, so there's not that longing anymore. There's not that chase that Gatsby was after in the first place. Daisy has always represented this like unattainable old money world for him. There's another line, can't remember what it is exactly, but they're talking about running away together, and Gatsby's like, "No, Daisy, that wouldn't be respectable." It's like if you were truly in love with her and truly just wanted to be with her and wanted to do everything for her, then you would have done that, right? But you don't want to run away because it's not respectable, because you care so much about your image. Your image is number one. Gatsby doesn't really love Daisy. He loves the idea of having Daisy. Yeah. 3, Tom abuses Daisy. This might be more known maybe than I realize, but we get the scene where he punches his mistress, and you can kind of assume that those things are happening to Daisy as well because of the beautiful fool line, and because she ultimately doesn't leave Tom in the end. Back in the day, it would be extremely dangerous for her to try to leave Tom. And although it's not specifically said that that is happening within their relationship, there are a lot of signs that point to that it is. Daisy's kind of caught in the middle. Daisy's aware that Gatsby only likes her for her image. So Daisy is aware that Gatsby doesn't truly love her, but Tom is on this side, someone she's already married to, already has a lot of money and status, and she can't really get out of the relationship in the first place. So she's kind of in this in-between phase of, where do I go? This guy doesn't even really like me. He just likes the idea of me. And this guy is my abuser, right? It's kind of sad when you look at it like that. Or it is sad. It's not kind of sad. It is very sad when you look at it like that. But overall, just shows how good of a book this is, because you're able to interpret it in so many different ways, and there are so many quotable lines and beautiful phrases. Oh, this I really enjoyed. Nick, in the very last chapter, Gatsby has already died. He's, trying to arrange his funeral and everything. He says, "They were careless people, Tom and Daisy. They smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money or their vast carelessness or whatever it was that kept them together, and let other people clean up the mess they had made." Like, true. Completely true. So yeah, I liked it, as you can see. Unlike the husband's book that I read at the beginning, I wish this book was 100 pages longer rather than 100 pages shorter. I will leave you with this final quote. It says, "Probably it was some final guest who had been away at the ends of the earth and didn't know that the party was over." Bye.